this. Someone flicks me a bad body. Say, oh, it's another one. It's another one, yeah. It's a first one, yeah. Oh, it's another one. It's another one, yeah.
What's going on, people? Welcome back to the Stay Weighedin show, presented to you by iBoxingHub in association with our partnership with D-Rock Clothing. iBoxingHub 24. Get yourself 40% off. I'm joined by my man Ray. Ray, what you saying, man? How is life?
I'm doing better than Harry Kane right now, man. I'm doing better than England's performance right now. So, you know, I see you rocking the Spanish top.
Come on, Viva España. Viva España.
Viva España. You get what I'm saying? You saw my boy Nico Williams, you know, GH in the building. I watched that match. Yeah. England didn't win, but I said I'm leaving it with something. So Nico Williams, thank you for, you know, flying the flag for GH via España. So I'll take that, man.
Do you know what? I'll say this right now. As much as England stunk it up, let's give Gareth Southgate a knighthood. Yeah. I tell you why. I'm gonna tell you this why. There's only
listen, I don't support glorified losing, but go on.
No, I don't support. I understand that. My point being is, I know it's a box show, but just for 2 minutes.
No, let's go there. Let's go there.
For 2 minutes, Gareth Southgate's done the best ever England managerial role that we will ever see, right? Mm-hmm. So for that reason, he's done as much as he can do. It's not his fault that he has a generational loser as a captain.
No. It is his fault. No, we're not. Don't get me wrong. We're gonna get Kane, because I've been telling people, don't ever when you know the last decade in the tens, and I said there's 3 great strikers. It's Big Ben's, is Lewandowski, and it's Suarez. Those are the top 3 in no order, but Suarez is probably top 1. When they tried to put Kane in that conversation, I said he's a great player, an A-grade player, better than 95%.
A minus.
No. He's an A. I'll give him
B
an
plus. I'm gonna call him B. He's like Daniel Bryan. You can't get the job done until they force it. He's like Daniel Bryan. He's a B plus player.
No. He's good. He's great. He's not elite. And when people used to get on to me about, what separates Kane from those 3, I said, when it comes to big moments, you need to rise. And I'm sorry, there's been one too many occasions where this guy hasn't risen to the occasion. And then people have the excuse, but he plays for Tottenham. Let's get one thing straight. Gerrard wasn't playing for the greatest Liverpool sides. When it came to that Champions League in 2005, I remember watching that channel, you know, ITV1, shout out those, Channel 3, back in the day. I remember watching that match, and I'm seeing Gerrard rise to the occasion. He didn't always get the opportunity to, but when it was time, he rose to it. So I'm not trying to hear this excuse but Harry Kane plays at Tottenham, because when Gerrard was at Liverpool, he didn't have the greatest squad all the time, but he rose to the occasion, whether it was Champions League or whether it's season with.
We don't even need to do Tottenham. He's at Bayern Munich and he left them trophyless.
Even now, if they could win everything this season,
and nobody cares.
No one cares.
No one cares. Thank you.
It's not looking good.
Just quickly.
Go on.
Before we get into the boxing, where is Rico? Reform UK Rico. That's what I'm calling him.
Rico is with his boy Gareth somewhere, figuring out how they lost. And do you know what? Here's my thing. It's not that I dislike Gareth.
I like Gareth.
I like Gareth. I think Gareth is a great coach. I think what he's done to bring the squad together has been brilliant. But I also think he hit a wall where he's coming from the school of Middlesbrough. No disrespect for those that live with Middlesbrough or support Middlesbrough. What has Middlesbrough won for him to, you know, have that mentality to be elite? He hasn't. So then at a certain point, I blame the FA, and this country has this thing of they'd rather be glorious losers than elite winners. It's the same reason why a lot of people don't connect with Lewis Hamilton, because he goes out there and he wins. He doesn't do woe is me. He doesn't do I'm the underdog. He goes, no, I'm great and I'm going to be great. And I feel like that's the mentality that the Spanish had. That's why when the final was coming up and people were just like, who you got winning? I had Spain. I said, they went through killer's gauntlet. And you think that you know, England playing in their great moments, England will play poorly and have great moments. I said Spain are a structured system that has been beating killer after killer after killer. You think you're gonna great moments way out of a structure? It's crazy. The same way, guess what? There's people that cheated the boxing game, and then there's the Terence Crawfords of the world who we'll speak on later, where that guy's been locked in for so long. When it came time to shine, that guy rose to the occasion. But then there's another 147 welterweight.
Let's go. Let's do it then. We talked
There's another
about England.
147 on the horizon. Let's go.
Let's go. Jerome Boots Ennis under Matchroom at home in front of, I think it might have been 13,000 plus people there. Destroys David Avenisham. Give me your thoughts on the actual performance all the way through, because for me, that was 5 rounds of just straight, beautiful, violent but beautifully executed boxing.
That's art. That's beautiful violence, as Carl Swanson likes to say. But from the production, and come on, once again, shout out Eddie Hearn. We've spoken about this time and time again. When it comes to production, Eddie Hearn makes sure that the show is going to be just that, a big show. This was a homecoming. This was the biggest attendance in that Philly arena for like 20 plus years or even longer than that. And I'm looking at all these American promoters, and I think Raz alluded to this in the group chat. It's like, you're lazy, you're not promoting no more. How have you let someone like this, like, not fighting, not build up a home crowd in their own city? That's crazy. This guy was there the whole time and you lot were mismanaging him. And then now look what Eddie's doing. Like, no wonder all these promoters were shook of Eddie entering America, because he's actually going there to work. The guy, he brought the big crowd to Philly and he wasn't even the greatest opponent. Eddie's going to go in there, and I think he's going to bring another few great fights to Philadelphia before Boots gets to that stage where it's Las Vegas nights. I think they're going to bring some, big nights to Philly. This was a success. So whether his next fight is going to be a defense for a title or unification, I think bring, 1 or 2 more big fights to Philadelphia. I think until he gets undisputed, I think he should have them all in Philadelphia and just build up his name there, because the crowd that he's building up, the name that he's building up. This was a guy who, contrary to the week before when we were talking about Shakur, the lights got bright on Jerome Boots Ennis, and he rose to the occasion and he said, yo, I'm him.
I was going to ask you, we talk about a lot of guys that are pay-per-view stars or get put on pay-per-view when they're not meant to be. Are we looking at a potential pay-per-view star where everyone will want to pay the £20 to potentially watch him, or whatever it's going to be in America? Like, what's your view on Boots? You're muted, by the way. You're muted.
Apologies. Yeah, I was gonna say, well, yeah, in the US you might be paying a bit more than 20.
Yeah.
I know you lot are probably upset that you're hearing us. That's how much we pay here. But I think, yeah, like, he can be, and he's got the personality for it. He's got the star power, star boy potential, shall I say.
Yeah.
He's got the look. He's got the fighting style. All he needs now is to build up his resume, build up his fight compilation, have the big productions, have the cult following in Philadelphia, because I feel like we've mentioned this before. That's what's missing in boxing, like this regional big guys that bring, the people from their city to their performances. And I feel like that's what he needs. Like, he's still building. Yeah, Ram mentioned about the social media presence. Even if you get a social media team, he doesn't need to be the most interactive. Hire the right social media manager, get your profile out there. Eddie will do the rest. And I feel like the potential is there. I think there's 2 things. They need to become a superstar. He needs to carry on becoming, champion, unifying the division. He's also at some point going to need an opponent and a nemesis to bring the greatness out of him. The same way.
This is my next thing. For cutting you off. We've always said welterweight is one of them shiny divisions where your eyes are always glued to it, especially, I would say, more in America than I would say in the UK for a period of time. But welterweight seems like, at this present moment in time, like a stopgap division. You look at 135, you look at 140, borderline skip 147, and you
47.
go to 154. So, with that being said, and how great Boots is looking right now, who's the real nemesis that you see? And you're like, okay, this is the guy that they will have to push to be able to create that next big fight for him.
Well, Ra saying Virgil Ortiz, but then that requires, well, I will say, if it is Virgil Ortiz, it will require Boots to, I would like, me personally, I would like Boots to become undisputed at 147 before he moves
Okay.
up. Because he's a big boy for that weight class and is pending that he's going to move up. So I think welterweight is going to be a pit stop where there's not too many great welters right now. So go out there and be the bigger person. Go out there and dominate. Go out there and build your name, becoming undisputed or at least unified, and then move up. But like Barrios, Staniosis, sorry, these ain't big enough names to become a pay-per-view household, but they're worthy enough opponents to make you look good beating them. And then once you do that, you get into the Tank Davis range where people are just excited to see you. And then when he gets to 154, that's where he'll have the Virgil Ortiz. That's where, I've mentioned this before. If in the time that he can become undisputed at 147, if Bud does his side of things and become undisputed at 154, you can get your name recognition up to maybe get that Bud fight at the end of it. So that is where you can really become the guy. But for now, focus on doing what he's doing now. Become the Philly hometown hero, become the hero that they've needed for a long time, and then build up to those Vegas nights. But we're not there yet, but we're on the horizon.
Hey, listen, I was gonna say something, and I've never seen this guy be so happy in press conference. So I want your thoughts on this. Eddie Hearn, this guy was genuinely like smiling. And I remember when he first signed him, and it was like he had a press conference the day after, and I was there, and I spoke to him. And he was like, "I've been chasing him for 5 years. I'm super excited." And everyone was saying he broke the internet by signing him. When you see Eddie's reaction in the post-fight conference, like, what do you think is the ceiling with him? Like, he's going to promote him to the moon and back, it seems like, at this point in time. Like, does he have to constantly keep him in the name in terms of when he's at other big fights and big press conferences as well, do you think?
Of course, like that's your North American North Star for Eddie. Because I think
What about Shakur? Where does he fit in then? Because I think he's going to sign him. Like,
he is, but do you know what his Boots is? I think Eddie probably stumbled upon Boots and thinking to himself, how the F have you Americans messed this so much that you ain't capitalized on a guy like this? That's why Eddie's probably looking at Boots. Because don't get me wrong, Eddie's helped build Ray Ford. Eddie's helped trying to do other Americans. Eddie's, he's helped Devin Haney along the way. And yeah, it's relative success, but the package that you get with Boots is kind of like, he must be thinking, how did you guys drop the ball with this? I am not going to drop the ball with this, and I'm going to go there, and you lot are going to see what real promoting is. But yeah, I agree. We don't need Boots first, Ennis this early. Like, it needs to build more. And sometimes I'm against that whole thing of, letting things build. But for Ennis's sake, I feel like he needs to get more stuff out the mud on his own name, because in all honesty, his career's been stagnant. So he needs to build more momentum, and also let Crawford build momentum. Crawford just come off, the contract dispute with Spence. And I feel like Crawford needs to build up his name again. So I feel like if both fighters can build up their name again, they can have that big, generational fight of, if Ennis is going to be the new guy that, takes the scalp off the old lion, or if the old lion's going to, sit on his throne as a king of the Serengeti and let people know that, yeah, you can't take this from me.
nah, I hear. I just want to say a big shout out to
Agree
obviously
for
the chat. Big shout out to the chat, obviously dropping in the comments as well. We obviously appreciate your guys' support as well. Talking about activity or inactivity, like I said, Boots had a lot of inactivity prior to this. When you look at the model for 2025, are we looking at 2 fights, 3 fights? What are you looking at for Boots going forward? But it's like, okay, there's genuine momentum going into this, and barring injuries or pullouts from fighters, how many times do you think he needs to fight? And also, funny enough, I'm gonna ask this: what do you think should be his schedule? The reason I say that is, you see, we've got the Canelo schedule where it's like
Mhm.
certain dates are booked out for him.
Yeah.
Can it be a potential where it's like we get certain dates booked out for Boots? Was that too early? And it's just find the fights,
He's
find the
not
time.
there yet. I think he needs to do, when Canelo was in pursuit of becoming undisputed at 168
Mm.
and he just collected the belts fast. Canelo was just on a thing of, let's get these belts ASAP. That is what Boots needs to do.
And he was
Boots,
with Eddie when he was collecting as well.
yeah, that's what I'm
Yeah,
saying. Boots off. I think what the last belt was with
yeah.
PBC with Caleb Plant, but that's what Boots needs to do. Boots is in a position where, especially with 147, there's not going to be too many promotional blockages because there's not too many, big stars there that can hold their own and
Mm.
say, well, I want to be, the A side. And like, I feel like Boots is enough of a big name to just be like, you can sort out fights like that, get the belt ASAP, have one more fight this year. I don't think we can squeeze in two, but one more fight this year would be nice. Just a nice, like, winter Thanksgiving type of vibes for Boots. Whether that's going to be for a belt or maybe that's going to be another showcase defense fight. And then next year is when, for me, do the 3 fights, collect all the belts, and just put a statement on that year. Become 2025 Fighter of the Year. So Staniosis, Barrios, who's the remaining champion? So IBF is
I feel
Boots.
like they don't have any. If I'm not wrong, I might be wrong, but I feel like Bud Crawford still technically has them according to
And
his age.
Bud's gonna, I'm presuming that when Bud fights
Yeah,
Madrimov, I presume he's gonna let go of the other belts.
yeah. So I
So
think that's when it becomes official. I'll just double
listen,
check.
as soon as that happens, and if Bud doesn't let go of the belt, that's when you put pressure on Bud. Then, even though I don't want that fight, that's when you put pressure on Bud and say, "Yo, that belt that you're not relinquishing, I want that." So whatever the relinquished belt is there, I feel like his next fight then should
Yeah,
be
Crawford
one to
still
put him up
holds
the
2 of
rank.
the belts, and Barrios
Yeah.
holds 1.
So
So
Barrios holds WBC. Is Stanios basically interim?
yeah,
Okay, and then one of the other, I believe that would be WBO, is still with Terence Crawford because
Terence
because
Crawford. Yeah,
that's how he's getting this title shot now,
yeah.
isn't it? Imagine if he has to hold on to WBO. Okay, so that makes sense. So if Terence Crawford gets that belt 154, I feel like Boots should fight someone in the WBO ranking to make him in a beneficial position to move up and take that belt in, like I said, Thanksgiving time. And so then, listen, come early 2025, go on the epic run. So he says, Norman, that's the guy who's with Top Rank, isn't it? Because I think Bob Arum tried to say he's trying to make Tio first, Norman. And I'm just like, please, there's rice at home. I'm like,
And Tio's got work to do at 140 anyway.
Tio at
Like,
140, he's got so much work to do, and he's not looking as impressive as he does at 135. So I'm not trying to hear Tio talk about coming up to 147. So yeah,
let's go to. We have to do a bit of fantasy matchmaking.
go on.
What you're saying about 2025 with Boots is understandable.
Mhm.
And then if he makes that transition to 154 and everyone's clamoring for this Bud Crawford fight, how realistic is it that we get it? The reason I say that is at the moment Crawford fights once a year. Okay,
Mhm.
contractual issues, etc., have been in the past. Seems like he's a bit more free to be able to do that, especially with under the Turkey banner and stuff as well. But we've got age on one side. So realistically, how much is it that we really do get this Bud Crawford, Jerome Boots Ennis fight in 2026? Because that, based off your timeline, is when we can really get it.
I don't think it needs to happen, in all honesty.
Charlo.
Charlo ain't fighting again. Charlo, listen, let me tell you something. Unless money is tight, Jamel is not fighting again.
You got the Canelo payday.
Or, yeah, remember he just got the Canelo money. Or Jamel will go up to 160, but he is not fighting at 154. That is for sure. And I don't even think there's anyone enticing at 160 for Canelo to fight. But
No.
shout out BNG. But I think with Boots, short term, I can't see the Bud fight only happens if Bud becomes undisputed at 154 and he's still got an appetite to fight, or if that Boots fight is lucrative enough, he might take it. However, then you run the risk of letting Boots get better, and then it becomes a clash of generations. So it's going to be like when I wasn't even going to say Canelo versus Mayweather, but I don't think it's going to be like that. I think it's going to be like when Lennox Lewis faced Vitali, where you got Lennox Lewis who's near the end of his career. Well, he was at the end of his career. We just didn't know it yet. Lennox Lewis, that was at the end of his career. He beat everyone in his generation, but he was also becoming demotivated because Spence and Mayweather. What is that supposed to mean? Wait, elaborate on that when you say Spence and Mayweather.
As in Spence?
Oh, about the generation? Nah, that was different only because, similar to what I'm saying now, his name wasn't big enough to garner enough attention to make that Mayweather fight happen, unfortunately. Whereas Boots, I'd say, is more in an advantageous position than Spence was. But then, yeah, like I said, Lennox Lewis Vitali, that's how I see it, if that fight happens. But then I'd think if that fight was to happen, that'll be in 2026. I don't think that'll be in 2025. And by 2026, Crawford's going to be even older. And I don't know if his body's going to say, let's still go. If it does, if he still says, let's still go for it, then 2026, let's make it happen. But I still feel like for Boots' own sake and his commercial success, become undisputed at 147 and then go up. I know Turkey has this thing where he likes to make the fights people want to see, but let's not rush the process. There still has to be order. There still has to be process.
I was going to say, to Ra's point, Bud's saying he only wants 2 to 3 fights. And in one of them, we got this Canelo fight that's apparently circulating that I've always said is the most pointless fight for one Canelo to... Actually, I'd say it's the most pointless fight in his career right now, Canelo to take. For Crawford, he's
potentially facing Chris Eubank Jr. next, so, you know.
Whoa, are we trying to support the British?
No, I'm all here.
The economy is bad. As
I'm
Mexican,
all here for Chris Eubank Jr. I'm saying
as an honorary British Mexican, as an honorary British Mexican, listen, I've seen Sami Zayn become an honorary Us, so I could be an honorary Mexican. We are supporting our own fighters by getting them the fights. But on a more semi-serious level, then, if Bud wanted that Canelo fight, realistically, it's not something that can happen. I'm going to play devil's advocate here.
Go on.
This is one fight that Boots had under Eddie. What are the chances that this investment doesn't actually pay off?
Very slim. The only person that can beat Boots is Boots right now.
Yeah.
That's why when Ra said earlier on about who can be Boots' nemesis, Virgil Ortiz is a good name, dependent on how Virgil Ortiz looks at 154, because obviously he's had his own weight issues. But then Virgil Ortiz needs to start looking spectacular on his end, because with Virgil, I don't know if he'll get a title fight before Bud wraps up the belts at 154. Or if Virgil faces Bud, but then imagine it's like, if Virgil faces Bud and he's not the same after that, I don't know. But for me, Virgil Ortiz now, after all the issues he's had with making weight, Virgil Ortiz needs to go out there and remind people who he is. The same way I'm saying Boots needs to build up his profile, Virgil Ortiz needs to build up his profile 154 and let people know who his name is. And then you can have that nemesis. But until then, that's the closest that Boots will get for having someone to help boost his name. But like I said, go for undisputed first.
Do you know what? I have to speak about this guy again, because even though he's quieting down, he was still at the fight, still with Eddie's shoulder, and Eddie was stood next to him doing an interview. But Shakur Stevenson, as much as we said, he's going to probably hurt himself a little bit in free agency. he genuinely feels like the hottest ticket in boxing right now to get your hold of. So, look, we criticised him. We criticised his behaviour to a point where he was a bit over the top. The boxing style may not necessarily be the most attractive to get, but he's still the biggest name right now in free agency that you can get a hold of. So,
Yeah.
when do we expect that personally to be finalised? And then what do you think Eddie can do with Shakur going forward? Or do you think Golden Boy is going to snatch themselves way in there?
Golden Boy won't, because Cepeda's been made a mandatory for WBC, and then basically what happened was Ra pointed out, Cepeda was like top guy mandatory for WBC, but then he's also the top pick at 154 for other belts, which Oscar alluded to. So to me, that sounds like early allegations of something cracking. And if it sounds like a duck, we need to see if it moves like a duck. And if it moves like a duck, it's a duck. I don't know if Oscar is willing to risk Cepeda yet, because Oscar might say, do you know what? Let me get one of the other belts first. Oscar might say, whoever the other champion is at 154 with Top Rank, beginning with B, the Ukrainian fighter. I got a feeling Oscar would rather make that fight for Cepeda to get him a belt first before he makes him face Shakur. So I don't know what Eddie's going to do with Shakur.
You tease everyone. Now, I'm gonna laugh at that.
No, but that's the truth. That is the
I'll
truth.
be honest with you. I think he can beat. I think he beats Tank Davis, and he beats him quite easily.
I don't know about easy, but that's the most intriguing fight. That's the money fight. At the end of the day, that's the goal. That fight is the goal. The same way I was talking about Boots needing nemesis. That is Shakur's nemesis. That is the end goal. That is end of 2025, early 2026. They'll look to make that fight. Until then, here's the only thing with Shakur. Eddie and Matchroom are not in the bracket for 135. They haven't got no belts. Tank's got one. Loma's got one, Shakur's got one, and Top Rank has got the other guy. And like I said, Cepeda is probably going to face Top Rank's fighter. They're going to do Loma versus Tank. So Shakur is kind of like, where do you go from here? Do you go 140 for a little side mission, which
he won't look good in whatsoever, personally.
It's not that he won't look good. There's nothing exciting for him at 140. Like, I saw Shakur calling out Cambosis, and please don't make that fight. There's no need. For what reason? It's not going to do nothing for Shakur's profile to face Cambosis. And I know Cambosis right now is just on a crash out mission where he's trying to cash out. Basically.
He's trying to cash out.
Yeah, and credit to him. I always say I have the most respect for Cambosis, because if I've ever seen someone that overachieved and maximized on their moment, I have to give you full credit, because there's a lot of people in life that don't do it, and he's done it.
Do you know what? I think he's up there, and people don't like me saying this. I think Andy Ruiz can be thrown into that bracket to a point.
Nah, do you know why I can't say that? Because Andy Ruiz, the moment Andy got success.
Oh no, that's what I was gonna go. He cashed in on the moment in terms of taking the opportunity, winning AJ. Afterwards, that Snickers deal came in, and we hardly saw him.
But my thing is, it wasn't for Cambosis. It wasn't just the win. It was the media run he went on after that. It's the fact that you could have taken an easier fight to make yourself more glorified in Australia, and you went straight for Devin Haney, which, for me, I gotta commend that, because I even saw when Cambosis won the belts, I was even thinking to myself, brother, go and at least have a celebratory fight. Tell Devin Haney, yo, let me have this one fight in Australia just to do a victory lap, and then we can have this fight. But the fact that he went straight to Devin Haney in a big stadium, the cash from that fight probably done him better anyway.
Do you want to know something?
What's that?
You know when you overachieve, and you're like, all right, am I really as good as what the result actually did?
Yeah.
Shall I just go ahead, get the fight in that's going to make the most money because of the risk of potentially losing? I honestly believe Cambosis looked at it that way. Like, I could take another fight, an easier fight, but if I slip up, I'm never going to get that Haney fight. So for me, I understand why he took the Haney fight just like that. And again, they fought in Australia, 2 fights.
And he had a favorable contract. Remember, Devin Haney went in there And then he already knew I'm going to be the B-side, and he took that sacrifice, and I commend Haney for it. And on Cambosa's part, what a shrewd businessman. Even though I can't commend, apparently he, stiffed his manager and his prior coach, but that's a whole nother situation. But in regards to making sure that he maximized his situation, always going to give full credit to George, but now, after the loss to Loma, after, the non-convincing win over Maxi Hughes, I don't want to see Shakur first Cambosis. I want to see Cambosis at least get a decent looking win first. Get something decent under your belt. Go for the IBO title again. Because it depends. I doubt Loma kept onto that belt. Get the IBO title again in a convincing win. But if Shakur goes and faces Cambosis straight away, it's not a good look. And the only other options left for Shakur is a 140. And I don't think anything at 140 is going to help him build his profile.
That's the thing. The thing is, I don't believe. Yeah, listen. Shout out Neutral. I love his show on Fridays. Hard talk. Do you know what I rate about Neutral is? It's so late for us in the UK to be doing that show, but Neutral's there every week doing it constantly as well. Yeah. Oh, especially the watch-alongs. I can't lie. I don't know how you do it. The setup is so sick as well. But yeah, I just want to wrap up this episode. 2025. Said it before, but is it going to be the year of Jerome Boots Ennis, and will he potentially be the fighter of the year?
I absolutely hope and pray that we get undisputed 147 Jerome Boots Ennis, restore the feeling, restore to throwback fighters. That's what Jerome's giving. He's giving that throwback fighters that come to bank. He's giving Marvin Hagler, who ironically, that's the record that he.
Do you know what I was gonna say?
Restored.
I'm gonna say this. He's bringing sexy boxing back. Nor did he. I had to throw it in there.
If you see that press conference, that is one of the funniest.
That was awesome. Do you know what I love about it? That's just
press conferences.
That's what I mean. That's Eddie Hearn at his finest.
Yeah,
he's in with every part of culture. Yeah, he gets it. But yeah, no, sorry to get your point at the end before you say.
Yeah, no, I think 147 just become undisputed. That should be his main focus. Don't focus on no one else but yourself. Yes, I understand for leverage, just to get your name out there, Eddie's going to mention Crawford. He has to. However, deep down, I want him to come undisputed at 147. Make yourself famous, kid. And then, because at the end of the day, American boxing needs more heroes. And I feel like when your shirt is as tight as yours, there's always.
Listen, this is a smaller shirt. I've got bigger muscles now, but I had to do it for the trolls. I realized when I put it
I need you. You need to get Nico Williams printed on that as the name.
Oh no, this is the biggest troll on the back, Sergio Busquets. But that's a conversation for a different day.
Listen, I'm gonna be polite today, man. Boo that man. But yeah, what I will say is this: Boots 147 undisputed. If you get that, and Bud is still around, then go for Bud. But until then, focus on yourself. Virgil Ortiz, get your shit together and become what you can at 154, and Boots will be waiting for you too. As for Shakur, he's in no man's land, and I don't know if Top Rank, shall I say, will work for Matchroom, especially if Matchroom gets Shakur. So Shakur's in a strange place. Whether do you go to 140? But at the same time, Shakur seems happy with Eddie, so
yeah,
he might just say, "Do you know what, Eddie?
Okay,
let's make this."
I'm gonna be honest with you.
He might have a plan for him. He might have a plan for him that none of us see.
I'm gonna be honest with you. I think he's been happy. I think he's been wanting to switch the Eddie Hearn Matchroom bandwagon for a very long time. For a while, and he's just like, I've got to just play her out, because you don't praise another promoter the way he's been praising him if you already don't have something in the background set. And yeah, like I've always said this, once you see what Eddie does for another fighter, you're already on board. And like you said, I think for me the biggest thing is the production, because Lord, the Top Rank promotions, the Top Rank production stinks. I just don't.
Absolutely.
It's so bingo holy.
I say this every single stream I get a chance, and I'll say it again.
Bingo hole top rank.
Do not know how to make stars. They have the best roster, but they do not know how to make stars. I don't know who the last star at top rank is. And once again, people do not count Inoue, because Inoue is big in Japan, where his promotion in Japan has done the work for him to get bigger. But in terms of top rank, like raising a star, they have not made a star in a long time. And it's not a good look that every single time people get big at top rank, they end up leaving to cross over.
Do you know
and that
what,
production sucks.
This is the thing.
We invest in some good cameras, man.
I was going to say, I feel like Top Rank's one of them companies, and Bob Arum is, where it's like they've got the most money just on the sly. They're that undercover billionaire, but they don't want to spend it. And it's like, no, we're gonna drive a Ford Focus. No offense to people driving Ford Focus.
I think do you know what? I like that they're responsible. One thing I'll give them. Let's chill on that, Raw. Let's not do that. Let's chill. Canelo's got 3 fights that he's been ducking. In a way, that's more boxing promoting business than it is. In a way,
Canelo to start with is not ducking anybody. He's giving opportunity.
Don't put Canelo in Inoue. The only people in Inoue conversation are Inoue, Usyk, and Crawford. Don't put Canelo's name in.
You're gonna see what Crawford does in a couple of weeks, but yeah, you just quickly say top rank. In terms
top
of
rank,
financially,
I think they're sensible with their money, but sometimes it's like, and I get it, because the longevity that Top Rank have had, they've seen promotions come and go. But sometimes Top Rank, I know you got a bit of spare money here and there. Invest it. Do something exciting. You've already got enough savings. Do something exciting with what you've got. So, or you're always going to end up with your top 5s leaving, whether it is Shakur, whether it is Crawford, whether it's Pacquiao, whether it's Mayweather, whether it's De La Hoya. Like, they've just got a long history of people having to become stars once they leave them. And it's like, yeah, just invest it, but we'll see. All I know is the Drum Boost Ennis show and 2025 Undisputed Worldweight Champion.
Listen, all I'm going to say is that was your guy. I remember you talking about him early, so I'm going to give you the props for that.
That's what I tell people, man.
For me, I can't lie, my early guy was Shakur, and we need that little bit more. We need that little bit more.
I don't know.
I hope in 2025 we do get that fight, because when we get that fight, I'm going to tell all these Tank Davis fanboys that he's going to stop. He's not going to stop him. He's going to just put everybody to sleep by boxing a perfect fight and winning on unanimous.
No one ever says it like that.
Yeah, but that's what we're going to see. We're going to see that. But yeah, guys, listen, we're going to wrap up today's episode. We're going to be back in the evening. We got the Commissioner Trill and Rico, and all of us are going to be on there to the best of our abilities. We're going to all pop in, talk a little bit of stuff, US to the UK throughout the week. Obviously, we've constantly got our shows. We've got Watch Along coming up, any fights. Let us know, because Neutral's going to be on that to be able to do it as well. Listen, guys, we're going to wrap up today's episode. Like, share, subscribe. You know the vibes. Until next time, peace.
It's another band. All the Muslim cars now, whichever hit up. I talk my cards with a sweet one, please. Someone